Good morning, everybody. Auronnj here with another honkaistarrail video, and today I'm going to do my breakdown of Herta's store. We're going to talk about the 5-star light cones in the store, which ones I think are the best, which characters I think they're the best on, and then you can look at your account, think about who you like to use, and if you need to pick up one of these light cones for yourself. Now, if we jump into the shop, my quickest tip is don't buy the star rail passes. Like, 2 bonds for a star rail pass just doesn't feel good to me, and I think these are just in here in case you ever run out of things you need to buy. You can then use your bonds for pulls, and that's fine. It's kind of like a overflow mechanic in case you're ever overflowing in Herta's bonds, but until then I think you should focus on the light cones and maxing them out. These superimposers, if you didn't know, are generic duplicates for the 5-star light cones in the shop. So that means for 8 bonds you can pick up a 5-star light cone, and for 8 more bonds you can max superimpose it. Some people I think will want to max superimpose a light cone before they get a second one. It depends on the holes you kind of need to fill. It depends on how your pulls have gone. You'll have to determine that for yourself. Let's talk about the 5-star light cones. First of all, I think the best one of the 3, just in a vacuum, is on the fall of an Aeon. This is my favorite of the bunch. The stats on here are very comparable to Clara's 5-star light cone you have to pull from the gacha, and then the Superimposition 5 is really good. It's a stacking 16% attack buff up to 4 times in a fight, which is 64% attack increase, and in your longer fights you're going to be able to take advantage of that 64% attack increase for the whole fight. I love that. Then also, if the wearer breaks a weakness on an enemy, they get a 24% damage increase for 2 turns. Adds a little strategy to the card. You want this wearer getting some breaks, then their damage is really, in the words of Vulcan, cracked. I love that he says that. That's cool. I'm not going to steal that except for this one time. Props to him. That's a really cool thing to say. Their damage is really increased. I don't know, I'll come up with my own thing. Anyway, I think this is a very good card, but who is it good on? That's really what we need to talk about right here. I think if you have Clara, you're going to eventually want to pick up her card. It's better for her than Herta's shop's card, right? Like, this card's just insane. The stats are just a little bit better here. I could put them side by side for just a second. A little more HP and a little more attack here on Clara's card. The defense, however, is the same. So the stats are really close, but kinship is just so specifically good for Clara. I think it's her best in slot card. So if you have Clara, you might be saving up your gacha pull. You get those those orange things. I can't remember what they're called. Eventually you'll be able to like pity out this card from the gacha. I think that should be your goal there, but maybe that's not a goal for you because Clara's just your side character. The Aeon Bond card from Herta's shop is just fine for her. Let's compare though the card from Herta's shop to some 4-star cards. So here's the Mole Colony card, right? The moles welcome you. This stat line on this card, not nearly as good as on the fall of an Aeon. HP is the same, but Aeon's has way more attack and way more defense, like way more defense, making it much better. Then the Fantastic Adventure, even at Superimposition 5, is just a stacking attack buff. When the wearer uses a basic attack skill or ultimate to attack enemies, the wearer gains 1 stack of Mischievous. Each stack increases the wearer's attack by 24. So yes, this stacks up really high and can make a very powerful unit, but it lacks that damage buff that you get from doing breaks. The stats aren't as good, so I do think the 5-star card from Herta's store is better. Now, I really briefly want to talk about 3-star cards for a second, because here's where I think some decision making will come in for you and your account. Look, I'm showing you the level 80 stats for a 3-star card, and note that they're not even comparable really to the level 80 stats for a 5-star card. I don't know how far you should take a 3-star card in this game. To me, I feel like level 40 or level 50 is about as far as I'd be willing to actually transcend one of these things to actually take it. After that, I'm gonna really be hoping I can find some 4 stars that I can invest in or some 5 stars. So one way to think about which cards you want to pick up from Herta's store here is what characters do you have that are currently using a 3-star light cone? I'm going to say card a bajillion times because they're cards, dang it. But what characters do you have that are currently using a 3-star light cone, and could you replace it with one of the light cones from Herta's shop? I think that could be a really good way of maybe making your first pick, or maybe deciding if you wanted to pick up a second one of these and level it out, just if for no other reason, the massive increase in stats that you're going to get from having a level 85 star light cone eventually compared to like a level 40 or 53 star light cone. So that's something to think about. Now, which characters is this light cone best on? There's only, 4 destruction characters, and I wrote them down. Clara, main character physical, Hook, and Arlen. Now, Clara, I think you should eventually go for her 5-star light card. I think that's better. For Hook, Arlen, and physical MC, I actually think this is their best in slot light cone. So if you are really hardcore using one of them, if one of those is your main man or main girl, in Hook's case, this should be a target for you, and this is going to be the one that I personally go for first. I use Hook all of the time. I'm going to get this card for my Hook, even though I already have a max super imposition. The moles welcome me. I think this is better, so I'm going to go for it. Okay, let's talk about the next card. Now, the next one is a hunt card. It is called Cruising in the Stellar Sea. Your hunt characters currently in the game, you have Sela, Yanking, Shu Sheng, and Dan. So there's your 4 hunt characters. Which one is this good on? Well, let's check out the card. Maxed out, you're looking at 952 HP, 529 attack, 463 defense. That's nice. Again, it's not going to be as good as the 5-star gacha light cones in the game, but still, it's pretty strong. Then Chase. This is really what makes or breaks these, in my opinion, is the super imposition. So Chase will increase the wearer's crit rate by 16% and increase their crit rate against units with equal to or less than 50% HP by another 16. And if they kill a unit, so this is all about getting units low HP and executing them is what it looks like to me. They gain a 40% attack buff for 2 turns. This isn't bad. I don't think this is nearly as good as the last one though. Now, if we were to compare it really quick with like the 5-star light cone Sleep Like the Dead, if we look stat pool by stat pool, you can see Sleep Like the Dead, more HP, more attack, and the same defense. So statistically, Sleep Like the Dead is better. If you're a Yon King player, you're going to want Sleep Like the Dead. And in fact, if you just have In the Night, I think this is currently like the best 5-star light cone for hunt players in the game that aren't Yon King, but this is a limited time gacha. Mostly the people who have this are people who like wailed a little bit for Sela and then went to her light cone banner. So mostly, let's compare it instead to some of the 4-star light cones out there, especially Shu Sheng's and Dan Heng's. So Shu Sheng's light cone right here, swordplay, or at least one a lot of people are going for her, stat-wise, 952 HP, 952 HP, very similar. 529 attack, better over here. 463 defense, a lot better over here. So there's a lot more defense on this card than the 4-star for Shu Sheng. Now, Shu Sheng's card, though, Answers of Their Own, is a stacking damage increase, which I really, really like. I still don't think it makes it as good as the 5-star option from Herta's store, but it's close. And so because it's close, if you have this, I would probably invest into this a little bit and then maybe go for another one. Okay, let's look at Dan's card here. Only Silence Remains. This is 952, 476, 330. Again, if we compare them side by side, way more defense and a lot more attack here with the same amount of HP. So you can see kind of the trend of how the stats compare. Now, Dan's card right here, Light Cone. I'm going to call these cards till the end of time. Light Cone Record. Increase the wearer's attack by 16%. If there are 2 or fewer enemies on the field, increase crit rate by 12%. This card right here is so much better than Dan's card. So, in my opinion, or that 4-star light cone for Dan, if you're playing somebody like Dan or Shu Sheng and you don't have a 4-star light cone that's really good for them, or you don't have a copy of Sela's light cone to put on them, this could be a really good option for you. Personally, I don't think it's as good as the one we just looked at on the Fall of an Aeon, but it's pretty good. And I'll tell you what, Dan is currently my only wind unit. There's a case I might make for myself where if I need to level Dan because I really need access to some wind damage, Cruising in the Stellar Sea might just be an option I have to pivot to once I have enough of Herta's bonds to pick it up. Next up, lastly, Texture of Memory. So let's look at this thing. This is a preservation light cone. It's a tanking light cone. This is one I think some people have been wrong about. Let me tell you why. Like, I play a lot of Japar. Let me give you my breakdown on this one. First of all, statistically, HP 1058, 429 attack, 529 defense. The superimposition skill, Treasure. Increase the wearer's effect resist rate by 16%. So this is their resistance to status effects. If the wearer is attacked and has no shield, they gain a shield equal to 32% of their max HP for 2 turns. This effect can only be triggered once every 3 turns. If the wearer has a shield, when attacked, the damage they receive is reduced by 24%. So let me just start off. I want to just talk about Gepard for a second to start. And in fact, I will put his light cone on the screen right here, Moment of Victory. Look, Moment of Victory is Gepard's best light cone by literally the universe. Like this light cone is so much better for him than the one from Herta's shop. Now I understand not everybody who plays Gepard is going to have this light cone, but if you play Gepard, at someday you should try to get this light cone, in my opinion. It's just that much better for him than the Herta's shop one. So I don't think, if you're thinking about picking up this card right here for Gepard, I think you should hold. Now let's compare this card though to a card like Day 1 of My New Life. This is a 4-star card, stat wise, side by side. More HP on Texture of Memories, more attack on Texture of Memories, and more defense. It wins across the board statistically compared to this 4-star card. This card right here increases the wearer's defense by 16%. After entering battle, increase damage resist of all allies by 8%. So this card, I bring this one up because this is a good March 7th card. March 7th is this weird like tank / support unit who just wants to like either give herself aggro or pass it off to somebody like Fire MC, and this is another way of her supporting. I want to make a case real quick for this card and March 7th. I think the best people for this card are March 7th and Fire MC. Fire MC, his shield is very small. There's a lot of times where he's going to be hit and doesn't have his shield up, in which case it'll proc this, and he'll then have a shield, or if he does have his shield up, his shield's going to get broken, but he will take less damage. I think this is a great card for Fire MC. I think it's a great card for him. I also think this is a very great card for March 7th, running with someone else that she's passing aggro to. Because March 7th is a preservation class, she has a little bit more innate hate than other units in her group, unless she's passing off aggro or running with another preservation class. Still, because she's preservation, she is going to be drawing some attacks to herself, and if she's single target shielding someone else, this will give her a chance to proc her own shield to help keep her alive, giving her access to a shield while she is simultaneously passing her shield off. Now, are there very many like OP team comps where you're running March 7th and somebody else? Maybe somebody like Clara, who you're having March 7th shield, but still occasionally March 7th is getting hit. Hey, this is a good option in that case. So I do think Texture of Memories is a good card. I still think it's good on Gepard. I've heard some people talking about how like they're getting this for him. Like, I think Gepard needs 3 things from his light cone. Aggro, which this does not give, defense, which this does not give, and shield strength, which this does not give. Yes, I do understand that like this makes his personal shield better because he will receive less damage when he's shielded, but Gepard is an AoE shield guy. He wants to focus on being able to AoE shield his team as much as possible. Getting hit more will help him do that, so I honestly think you're better off running a card that just gives him more aggro and letting him just generate shields than you are with Texture of Memories. So that's my breakdown on the 3 cards in Herta's shop. Personally, I think Fall of an Aeon is the best one. I still, though, might end up picking up one of these other 2 relatively early, especially if I have to go to a subgroup. Like, I know I'm going to need 2 groups relatively soon. If I don't have a great light cone for Fire MC or my goodness, it's so early in the morning, or March the 7th yet, I'll probably pick up Texture of Memories, and if I have to start using Dan and I still don't have a good light cone for Dan, Cruising in the Stellar Sea will be my option. So there's kind of my breakdown for these light cones, who I think they're good on, and we compared them to some other ones. Let me know what you think. Let me know which ones you're picking up or have already picked up, and then let me know if you're maxing one out quick or going for a dupe. I'm going to try to max one out quick. I think that's the more fun way to play, and ultimately, that's what you should really consider. What's more fun for you? Alright guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.